Hello, my name is Brother Michael Green and I speak to you from Australia. I want to tell you about two books. The first book is the story of the Marist brothers in Ireland, written by Ned Prendergast, called Before You We Stand. The second, Sub Tuum Praesidium, is the story of the brothers in Australia, my own country. Although the books were written independently of each other, it's interesting that they draw on the same prayer for their title, Sub Tuum Praesidium. Each covers the story of the Marist brothers over a long period. The Irish story from 1862 until the present day, and the Australian story mainly from 1872, when the first Marist school was established in Sydney, Australia, till 150 years later, 2022. But it does go back a little further than that, because the first Marist brother set foot in Sydney in 1837, when Marcelin was still alive. They are in some ways different stories in Australia and in Ireland. The Australian story is a very big one. It covers a vast continent, hundreds and hundreds of brothers, many schools, 60 of them continuing until today, and a very rich history. The Irish story is more intimate in some ways, a smaller number of brothers, a smaller number of schools, but such a rich story. And it is told magnificently by Ned Prendergast, a master wordsmith. He takes us into the lives of these brothers, into the places where they lived, the places where they worked. It is the story of their lives. We meet them all. We enter into their story. In a similar way, the Australian story, written by four brothers, Brother John Luttrell, Brother Neville Solomon, Brother Julian Casey, and Brother Peter Rodney, also is a story of people, a story of brothers. Each book is a story of brothers. And we enter into their joys and their challenges, their successes, their failures, just the interesting things that happen over this length of time. It's a family story. It's the story of our family. And I think for that reason, I became so deeply engrossed in each book, because it's my story and it's your story. These books are written by Marists for Marists. It's our Marist story. And I think it is so important that we tell this story, that we tell the story of brothers, we tell the story of our schools, we tell the story of people, Marist people. And that group of Marist people is such a broader and a richer group these days than simply the brothers. And interestingly, at the end of each book, the author looks forward. Even though the brothers are fewer, the story continues, and the story continues even more richly than it has in the past. But for that story to continue, the people who write the next chapters need to have a knowledge and a love of the chapters that have been written before them. So I recommend these books. Even if you are someone who is from another country and another place, this is part of your story. This is our Marist story, and it is well worth reading.